Hello and welcome everyone, I'm Madals here with some exclusive content for the ESET UK Masters. I'm going to be looking at all of the finalists we've got coming up on the 22nd to 25th of March. They have all made their place through getting through the online qualifiers. And really the purpose of this week is to give you a closer look at their playstyles, who they are, how they're doing in HotS, and just a little bit of facts and information about them, just so that if you haven't decided who you're going to be rooting for, hopefully this will help you make that decision. So, in the lower left position we do have our finalist, the blue Zerg player from Team Liquid. It is of course Ret. And his opponent up in the top right, the red Protoss player, it is Adel Scott. So let's talk a little bit about Red. This is on Howling Peak, so it's one of the stranger maps in the Heart of the Swarm beta because of this second entrance into your natural base can make things a little bit awkward. But in terms of Red, he is 27 years old, he's from the Netherlands, and he used to be a Brood War pro, so he has got all that macro, he has got all the skill, the micro, and everything like that. He is obviously from the Netherlands, as I said, so probably other famous people from the Netherlands are Harstem and Grubby, so clearly there's something in the water there that helps make them particularly good at StarCraft 2 and also particularly awesome people, because Red is a solid guy, he's really cool indeed. So this game is actually from the Razor Replay pack he released, so one of the last games he played on the beta. And in terms of his other achievements, other than of course becoming a finalist for the ESET event, he's also in the last year placed really well in the North American Star League Season 3 where he came 4th. Also at DreamHack Stockholm he got 4th place as well, and he's done a host of other things as well over the years. He wins a decent amount of stuff, he does very well in some big tournaments and stays up with the best, so definitely a contender for one of the higher ranking places at the finals. So really looking forward to meeting the guy, he is proper solid. So as we can see, we've got the hatchery down now for Red. It was after the spawning pool, so no, actually it wasn't. Ooh, it was before the spawning pool. He went hatcher then pool, so very brave against a Protoss player. And Adel actually not going for standard forward fast expand, which makes sense on this map because of this second entrance in. You can't really wall off. The wall off I've seen most Protoss players go for here is you chuck the Nexus down, you put a pylon here and build 2 gateways between, and that works actually quite effectively. Other things you can do, of course, is a 1-gate expansion, which is what I reckon Adel will go for, where you get the Mothership Core down, and you just really go and start pushing across the map, because Zerg players don't really like that with the Mothership Core as well. It can make things a little bit awkward. So, as we're seeing Adel putting the pylon on the low ground, Ret sees that, knows that now there is going to be an expansion coming relatively soon, and it's not a one base all in or anything like that. But it's still getting out the double queens, both hatcheries up now. The gas also down quite early, a lot earlier than you'd see normally, and that's due to the fact that the Protoss player isn't going to be expanding, is going to be trying to put on some pressure, and therefore you desperately need to get out things like speed and the potential to get some roaches out slightly sooner than you normally would as well. So when does Red need to take his third base? There's no rush for that, just really once he sees the natural Nexus chuck down, about 30 seconds or so around that time would be great. So the Zealot on its way through, we've also got a Stalker coming up behind this, the Mothership Core on its way across the map. The Zealot will scare back the drones actually, because there's no Zerglings out on the field at the moment. The Queens have now just popped, but only 2 of them. 2 Queens and 2 Zerglings, now 6 Zerglings, will be able to deal with the Zealot. But once the Mothership Core and the Stalkers come over, well, that is gonna put an end to it, because once that happens, actually you can get a decent amount of damage down, and the Zealot, Stalker, Mothership Core can kill a decent amount of Zerglings as well. So we're gonna have 8 Zerglings out on the field, but that's not gonna be too much of a worry here. As long as the Stalker doesn't get trapped and engages quite well, it should be absolutely fine. The Mothership Core as well gonna be able to help. And this is just good positioning at the moment out of Adel. Red though, he's going to try and get this round. He's pushing forward, but as you can see, the Mothership Core can just start doing some nice damage. The Queen's desperate to take that out. The Stalker already goes down, and this is just great control out of Red. Yes, he's had to produce quite a few Lings, but he's pushed back this aggression. He's taken off the Zealot, which is really nice for him, and now shouldn't have too much to worry about. So as we see, more Zerglings are on the way through. That single Mothership Core that you can only have 1 of at a time is being forced back. The Stalker taking a lot of damage, speed is done, so that Stalker is definitely going to die. The Probe also spotted here. And this is a bit of a bad play for Adel, because, or not a bad play, a bit of bad luck for him, because he's going to lose 2 Stalkers now in this push, and the Zealot. The Mothership Core will get back safely, but it's on quite low health. Adel getting up these additional gateways, going for just a complete wall off pretty much across the entire length. Just a small gap here between the Nexus. The force field does go down, but one Zealot Duggling does get the other side and therefore will kill the sentry. That's really problematic for Adel actually. And suddenly these warpins are going to become pretty essential because Massling is on its way. There's enough energy for a photon overcharge, but not going down yet. There's a small gap there as well. So suddenly we're seeing these Zealots having to do a lot of work. 2 sentries are now dead. Photon overcharge has gone down, so this will get cleaned up. But that was a beautiful little push there by Red, who killed those 2 sentries off very effectively. We do also have a couple of Lings in the main base. They're going to get cleaned up, but, well, brilliant push. Red behind this, getting up the infestation pit. Probably going to be going for Swarm Hosts in this case, and Swarm Hosts are very nice against Protoss, especially before they start getting out things like Storm or Colossi. The only thing that's really weak to is Sky Toss, obviously, because Locust can't shoot up, but that's why you tend to chuck down a Spire as well, just in order to get that Corruptors out, in order to start dealing with both those Colossi and also any Void Rays or Tempest or things like that that could hit the field to counter the Swarms. So, what we're seeing now is just Adel happily trying to macro up, get some more gateways out, get some more gas up. Twilight Council also on its way down, but the first Swarm Host coming out. And the only criticism most players will have of Swarm Hosts is just the fact that you need a lot of them before they become effective. So the 8+ mark is really where they start to have a decent bit of an effect. An Overlord getting sniped off there, but sees precisely what's down, tries to get a good read. Red doesn't know about the Twilight Council yet. That's the only thing he hasn't seen as far as I'm aware. Apart from that, he's got a complete read on his opponent. And interestingly, Red not trying to take his 3rd base yet, and that's what this mothership core is really coming over to take a look at, is where's this 3rd base, is it down, and if it's not, I need to prepare for some aggression. So Red is going to be going quite aggressive. Enduring Locust is only a couple of seconds away from completion. He's also got the +1 missile attack coming down. Only the single upgrades. A lot of Zerg players do like double upgrades, but Red, he's just comfortably sitting here at the 44 drone mark, so this is perfect saturation. 3 on the gas and 16 on each mineral patch, ideally where you want to be aiming for. And now just waiting for these additional Swarm Hosts to come out. The mothership core checking around, making sure the 3rd can come to this position. And really, what Red needs to do is just make sure that Adel is not able to get a decent amount of units out in order to defend these Swarm Hosts, because as long as he does, he should be absolutely okay, because with only gateway units, Swarm Hosts are going to be able to do so much damage. We can see that there's a good number there already, and really, Red now, just if he's not going to move out soon, he's got to make sure this 3rd base stays up. These Stalkers are coming closer, and I think that hatchery is almost certain to be forced to cancel. But it wasn't spotted. Adel moved forward and does not see that. That was pretty lucky, I'm not going to lie, for Red there. But in come these Swarm Hosts. They're going to try and get into a bit of a nice position. With the creep vision, see, of course, that where all these units are. Probably going to borrow these Swarm Hosts round here. There isn't an observer out at the moment, and that means no detection available, no way to take out these Swarm Hosts at all. And as we can see, the Locust already doing a nice little bit of damage here. The more Swarm Hosts are coming onto the field, but now Adel knows that those Swarm Hosts are closer up forward. He's going to start pushing through, so Red desperately trying to borrow some more Swarm Hosts, get some more Locusts out, start taking this away. He's going to take some damage here, so does need to be a little bit careful. Red also getting up the Nidus network and Hydra Den, so he's going to be going for some Nidus play, which instantly makes him 10 times more awesome, in my opinion. But well, as we're seeing, some damage being done here, but the Locusts, they're coming back, the Swarm Hosts starting to burrow up, and all of these Stalkers are going to be forced into a full retreat at the moment. In terms of worker killed, Adel killed 5 drones, so not a huge number, but does see the Nidus network, so can make sure to keep an eye out for that and make sure nothing gets through. Some Stalkers have managed to discover this 3rd base here, will try and take out the Queen. A couple of Swarm Hosts there will spawn quite a few Locusts, which will be able to push them back, so that is good news. Meanwhile, the Queen dies down here as well, in what seems like an agonizing fashion, if, of course, Zerg can feel pain. But this forward pylon, allowing more Blink Stalkers to come out, this is a really popular strategy that Adel is executing here, where you get the Mothership core down, and you also get down that Mothership, a good number of Blink Stalkers, and then if you get surrounded, you just use mass recall to get back to safety. If not, you can harass an awful lot. Red's approach to this is, well, I'm just going to get down my Hydralisks and then really shred through everything you've got, because you don't have any Colossi out, and therefore you've got no splash damage, you don't have High Templar, I know that much for sure. The first robotics facility only coming down now, but as we see these Swarm Hosts starting to move forward, the Locusts doing a nice little bit of damage here. Unfortunately, those Locusts are very slow, but the Hydras are not going to be slow off creep and start closing up the distance. These Stalkers are going to have to get out of there, because otherwise they're going to start taking an awful lot of damage. A Time Warp goes down, just trying to prevent these Stalkers from getting into a nice bit of range. But the Locusts, they're going to be able to soak up some more damage. The rally points here, just pushing them straight in to these Stalkers. They're taking a lot of damage. Adel starting to blink back best he can, but the Hydras coming up into the main base. A nice little bit of blink blink micro there, just coming straight on and up and in. And well, we see the main base is potentially in a bit of problems. The Hydras though, they're coming down. More speedlings also coming out. That's going to get the surround on these Stalkers, but the mass recall is still there as an option. But with so few Stalkers, there is going to be some decent damage done. Now, this just means that Adel pulled back, got into a more defensive position. Ret is able to start pushing forward. He's going to be able to come through here, going to start being able to try and pick off some of these forces. And as long as those Swarm hosts keep going, he's in a good spot. The Observer is not yet out. Only one in production now. That means there's literally no way Adel can kill these Swarm hosts while they're burrowed for the time being. And that just means wave after wave of Locusts are going to start coming forward. The Zerglings are here as well. The Hydra's coming across the map. No Nidus network as of yet, even though it's been built. But look at this. The damage these Locusts are able to do while taking absolutely no economic damage himself, or no losses himself, is spectacular. Here comes the Observer over, and a couple of these Swarm hosts getting taken out, but the Zerglings able to get this round, and there's the GG. Well played from Ret, and that indeed was some very, very nice play, managing to take Adel down in quite stylish fashion. So, after watching that, do you reckon that Team LiquidRet does have a shot in the finals? Do you reckon he could be getting up one of those podium positions? Let us know in the comments section below, and also in the Team Liquid thread. I'm Madals. Of course, this is all for ESET UK Masters, so make sure you check out ESETUKMasters.com, ESET UK Masters on Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. And of course, subscribe to this channel, because I get cast out daily, and I'm also going to be looking at more of the finalists. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.